two events happened during this year: the fall of the dictator of Venezuela, and now what is happening to Iran. And what you see is that, I don't know how you feel, because for us it's close, Venezuela, and we know a lot of Venezuelans living in Argentina, that when Maduro was taken out, everyone was celebrating. Now, when Iran regime was wiped out, all the Iranians were celebrating. But on the other side, you see all these liberal living in the United States, Europe, South America against Trump, supporting Iran. So that's why I want you, because we were talking with Venezuela people in our podcast in Spanish. That's why I want you to talk to the people, to tell the cruelty of this regime and how needed was this operation. In fact, this regime was the perpetrator of the biggest terrorist attack in Argentina. In 1994, there was a bomb, a truck with a bomb inside one of a Jewish organization of Buenos Aires. 86 people died that day and was organized by Iranian regime. So imagine the problem, the danger for the population. And when you see all these people that they didn't live what you lived before leaving Iran, that they are not even close to what you suffer or what your family or your people is suffering. What do you think and what do you tell to them?
Mhm. Yeah, the thing that you said about the terrorist attack in Argentina. Yeah, I know of that, and that is one of the examples of real anti-Semitism practiced by the government. There is anti-Semitism that has become a label to shut up your opponent, and that's a joke. That's become so ridiculous. But there is real anti-Semitism, that you hate someone just because they are Jewish, and that actually is entwined with the fabric of this regime. As I said, the first leader said that Israel must be wiped out of the earth. And what you are saying is, I have witnessed that, and we can understand why the people there are happy that a foreign government has come and kidnapped their leader. The people of the country are happy, but people with ideological views are mourning the end of a dictatorship in those countries. And they are saying that they are pro-peace, pro-non-intervention. But when these interventions are against the countries that they do not like, then you will see them that they would support it. The way that they support the Islamic Republic, the way that they supported the October attacks against the Israeli civilians, that was also an intervention, but they didn't say anything about that, against that. They even supported Hamas in those circumstances. Uh, and I have this short message for them, that if when the regime shut down the internet and killed 40,000 people, and that is just the lower estimate, that is the confirmed estimation that I am saying, and the real number is vastly beyond that. There are so many unidentified and uncounted people who have lost their lives. If you have shut your mouth then, please keep on doing what you were doing before, and do not talk about how we are feeling and how we should feel. We have lived under that dictatorship. We were really pro peace and against war. Why would we want war against the country that our family lives in? Why would you want a war against a country that we ourselves are living in? Because we have seen that our future depends on this regime going away. So you cannot just say that I am against war, so I condemn this war. You should look at the situation and assess what the people of that country are saying. And this is not a kind of unprovoked war. Something interesting is that the Minister of Foreign Affairs, who was actively taking part in the negotiations with the US, had yelled at Witkoff and said that we have enough uranium, enriched uranium, to make 11 atomic bombs. So that was how he wanted to negotiate with them. That was his last weapon. And he was threatening that, yeah, you obliterated all our facilities, but we have enough enriched uranium hidden and saved up to make atomic bombs. So that's why one of the last straws that made the negotiations go bad and the US attacking Iran, because Iran, the regime in Iran was actively acting against the interests of the US. So if you are a libertarian and pro-peace and you value non-aggression principle, which I very value and I adhere to, it doesn't mean that if someone slaps you, you turn the other cheek. If someone slaps you, you hit them so hard, they don't think about slapping you anymore. If you are not starting the aggression, that's very noble, but someone else starts the aggression, you should be retaliating. The Islamic regime has been implicated on the assassination attempt on Trump. They have had led several terrorist attacks in countries around the world, and anyone I talk to has some experience with, including you, the biggest terrorist attack that has happened in your country. And so many of our authorities are not able to leave the country because the Interpol would arrest them because of that very terror attack. So they have been spreading terror against the nations around us and far away from us. From the day one at school, they ask you to chant death to America, down with Israel, down with the US. You're chanting death to all the nations. For some time they were saying death to Saudi Arabia, and they were one of the neighbors that had okay relationships with us, and they had embassy inside Iran and all kinds of relations. Suddenly they became the enemy too, so they were added to the list. The UK was in the list, and at some point it was removed from the list. So they have asked for war through words and through their actions all the time. And if a country like the US or Israel, who have been the main targets for them in their words and in their actions, retaliating, you should understand that the Islamic regime started and that has not been the will of our people. Iranian people love Americans. They would love to go to America, live there, and maybe some of the best nations, best civilians they can find. When you ask Americans, everyone has some Persian friend, and they have very good relations with. This is not what we wanted. This is what the regime wanted. And we know that Trump and Netanyahu are not seeking to realize what the people of Iran want. They are acting in their own interest, which is correct, which is the right thing to do. This is something that our leaders, our politicians did not do. And at this moment, their want aligns with our want. And that's why we are supporting that. We have realized that this regime will not go without a bang. And we thank the leaders of these countries for having taken some action and for having understood the gravity of the situation and the danger this regime poses and the tricks that this regime plays, and eventually have taken action. Negotiations were a kind of end goal for the regime. Negotiations just for the sake of negotiations. Negotiations, to be more accurate, just for buying time. And all the other governments have tried the strategy of appeasement, giving them some points and going with the flow, going with the negotiations. But Trump realized that they are not pursuing any change as a result of these negotiations. This is something that the other presidents did not realize. And this is something that Israel all the time realized because they were in the closer proximity to us. And the Islamic regime, I refrain from saying Iran because they are not us. This is just an Islamic regime that has occupied Iran. They have supported openly Hezbollah in Lebanon. They have supported Hamas in Palestine. So if you are pro-Palestine, the cause of the problem comes from a regime that supports the armed opposition that has ideas like reviving the Sharia law, and they openly say that, the regime openly says that, and also the leaders of those organizations openly say that they are financed by the Islamic regime. If you look at any kind of terrorist organization, they are funded by the Islamic regime. So this is a real danger, not just to us, but to other countries. And to us, they had weapons to kill us. For others, fortunately, they are facing with greater powers. And we are seeing some changes.
Yes, I agree with the principle of non-aggression. It's the same for me. But of course, I am a person who is peaceful. But if someone tries to hit me on the street, I will counterattack, no matter what. Like if somewhere is a threat for me, for my family, of course I will. I have the right to counterattack. That's why United States and Israel are doing. I think that Islamic regime funding all these terrorist organizations that are a threat not only for Israel, for the surrounding countries that are not Jew, that are Muslims, but they are peaceful, because this is also a misconception. Because of the regime, Muslims equal terrorists, no matter what. And most of the people that I know that are Muslims, and I've been in Qatar, I've been in Dubai, all of the people are peaceful.